Oh, hi there. I'll be right with you. It's one of those days. I've got probably 8 coffee orders right now in my head, and it's really affecting my productivity. I mean, I know I could remember them now, but as soon as I deliver their coffees and they pay their bill, poof, out of mind, and I can move on, right? I don't know. There's got to be a word for this. Order up for Bluma Zeigarnik. Welcome back. I'm your barista, Vic Bonacci, and today at the Coffeehouse we're going to be talking about the Zeigarnik Effect. This is one of those tools I keep in my toolkit to remind teams and individuals that when they overload how much work they're going to do in any given period, it's usually something that's going to affect their overall productivity and kind of bring down the whole team. So let's talk about what is the Zeigarnik Effect. Like a lot of these tools, it's actually one of the cards in my coach's toolkit. So it's a handy little thing here. We've got a card called the Zeigarnik Effect, which says, when we finish a task, we get closure and stop thinking about it. When we don't finish tasks, we keep thinking about them. We yearn for completion. It's the idea of closing open loops. Loops such as questions left unanswered or problems that are unresolved. The goal that is sadly not achieved. The Zeigarnik Effect shows that there's a strong correlation between the memory of what's left incomplete and the desire to close that loop. It's similar, somewhat related, to another video that we did earlier about the stormy first draft. Link up in the top right for you. While not an actual tool, this phenomena was first observed by Bluma Zeigarnik, who was a psychologist. One day the story is that she was at a cafe and she marveled that the waiter had this unbelievable comprehension, this superpower, this ability to remember everybody's complicated order to the detail without writing anything down. But 15 minutes later, after she had come back into the restaurant, left and come back in, she asked the waiter a simple question. The waiter couldn't remember her at all. Because once those loops were closed, the orders delivered, the patrons paid, the memory from the waiter's mind could be flushed out and reused for other tasks. So it's similar, and it affects productivity, considering so much of our work is knowledge-based. The Zeigarnik Effect states that if we have tasks that are incomplete, we consume brain power holding on to the memory. Our subconscious keeps reminding or nagging our conscious mind. See, our brains remember more details about unfinished work. Open loops needs more attention, more resources to recall. Closed loops require little or no recall at all. Now, having a few open loops is kind of a good thing. It helps your productivity by reminding you to complete those tasks. In fact, I'll probably do a video not long from now talking about the usefulness of what are called time boxes and how it forces closure. Now, whether you use Scrum as a framework or some other iterative activity, you can see the power of leveraging what's called a time box in motivating closure. But more on that in a future video. So, a few open loops might be good, but beware if you have too many open loops. Then you might fall into what's called cognitive overload, that feeling of stress that comes when you have a significant amount of mental resources tied up in trying to remember what needs to get done. Kind of like the computer that's maxing out its memory and having everything, all the programs, grind to a halt. Anyway, the idea is that with more open loops, you actually have less willpower to get things done. So, what do? Limit your work in progress, your WIP. In fact, that's where I first heard about this Zeigarnik Effect. Several years ago, from Jim Benson, the author of Personal Kanban, was telling us about the rules of personal Kanban, visualize your work, and secondly, limit your WIP, your work in progress. By keeping the number of items that you're working on low, you can focus on them, get to that closure, get them done, and move on. By keeping WIP long, a lot of items in work in progress, now your mind begins to get cluttered and you're trying to think, what am I doing today? Where did I leave this one piece of work at? What's next? Did I eat lunch today? Too many cycles going on inside the old noggin. Interesting, it's the lack of planning that reduces the willpower. So what you want to do is make a habit to automate these tasks. Write it down. Just by virtue of the fact that you're delegating it to a system, that's going to help reduce that cognitive load on your mind. Remember, planning can be your friend. It will reduce stress. So you can write down those tasks and put them in a personal Kanban or whatever system you might be using. Just make sure to revisit that backlog from time to time, just because, I've seen backlogs that are years worth of stuff that just never seem to get done. Kind of like my day today. So hopefully you got something out of this brief introduction to the Zeigarnik Effect. If you enjoyed it, please like this video and comment down below. Share it with your friends. That helps us out tremendously, as does dropping a few nickels and dimes into the tiny tip jar. Every little bit helps, and we appreciate you for it. Now, if you don't mind, I've got a lot of coffee drinks to make up. I think I still remember them. So until next time, I'm your barista Vic Bonacci, reminding you to enjoy your coffee with friends. Did I leave that coffee maker on?